Right now, at this very moment, your legs are quietly losing strength. Every single day you wake up, walk to the kitchen, climb those stairs, you're making choices that are either protecting your leg muscles or slowly letting them waste away. And here's what most doctors won't tell you until it's too late. Your legs weaken first, not your arms, not your core. Your legs. They're the first alarm bell your body rings when aging starts to take hold, and by the time you notice that heaviness, that shakiness when you stand up from a chair, you've already lost more muscle than you realize. I've talked to women who told me they suddenly felt afraid of their own stairs. Men who said they couldn't play with their grandchildren anymore because their legs just wouldn't support them the way they used to. And the devastating part, most people think this is just aging, just something you have to accept. But that's not true. Not even close. Because what I'm about to share with you is backed by medical research from institutions across America and Europe. And it's information that could literally change the trajectory of your next 10, 20, even 30 years. But before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now so more people can find this information, and drop a comment with your age and where you're watching from. I want to know who's in this community taking their health seriously. Let's build something here together. Now let me explain what's actually happening inside your legs right now. After the age of 50, your body enters what researchers call sarcopenia. Think of it as your muscles going into retirement mode without your permission. What this really means is that every single year past 50, you're losing somewhere between 3 to 8% of your muscle mass. And here's the cruel part. Your legs hold more than 60% of your body's total muscle mass, which means when muscle loss starts, your legs take the biggest hit first. I know what you're thinking. You're wondering why your legs specifically. Here's the truth. Your leg muscles are like the foundation of a house. When that foundation starts crumbling, everything else becomes unstable. Medical research has shown that more than 1 in 4 older adults falls each year, and leg weakness is associated with a 4-fold increase in that risk. 4 times more likely to fall. And once you fall, your chances of falling again double. This isn't just about inconvenience. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in people over 65 in the United States. But stay with me here, because this connects to your situation in a way most people don't realize. When your leg muscles weaken, it creates a domino effect. First, you notice that tired, heavy feeling in your thighs when you've been standing for a while. Then maybe you start using your hands to push yourself up from chairs because your legs alone can't quite handle it anymore. Your balance gets shakier. You start holding onto railings you never needed before. And then the real danger begins. You start avoiding activities. You stop going for walks. You decline invitations because you're worried about keeping up. And when you stop moving, the muscle loss accelerates even faster. It becomes a downward spiral. One woman shared how she noticed after her 70th birthday that grocery shopping exhausted her. Not the shopping itself, but just the walking through the store, standing in line. She said her legs felt like they were made of lead by the time she got home. She started ordering delivery instead, and within 6 months, she could barely make it up her driveway without stopping to rest. That's how fast this can progress when you don't address it. Now here's where things get really interesting, and this might shock you. The answer isn't primarily about exercise. I know that sounds wrong. Yes, movement matters, and we'll get to that. But the foundation, the absolute key to preserving and rebuilding your leg strength, comes down to 3 specific foods, not supplements, not expensive powders. Real, whole foods that trigger specific processes in your muscles at the cellular level. Researchers at leading universities have discovered that certain nutrients can actually signal your muscles to stay in building mode. instead of breakdown mode. And there's one nutrient in particular that works like a master key, unlocking your body's ability to create new muscle protein even after 50, even after 60, even after 70. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me count down the 3 most powerful foods for your leg strength. Starting with number 3 and building up to the one that changes everything. Coming in at number 3, we have fatty fish, particularly salmon. Now I know you've heard fish is healthy, but let me explain why salmon specifically is crucial for your legs in a way that goes beyond general health advice. Salmon contains omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, and here's what these do inside your muscle cells. They act like firefighters putting out inflammation. Think of inflammation as rust forming on metal. As you age, your muscles develop more and more of this inflammatory rust, which blocks the signals your body sends to build new muscle. Research published just this year shows that omega-3 supplementation in older adults significantly increased thigh muscle volume and grip strength after just 6 months. That's visible, measurable muscle growth from these fatty acids. But here's what makes this especially important for people over 50. As you age, your muscles become what researchers call anabolic resistant. What this really means is your muscles start ignoring the normal signals to grow and repair themselves. The omega-3s in salmon help overcome this resistance. They make your muscles responsive again, like turning up the volume so they can actually hear the growth signals your body is sending. I've talked to people who started eating salmon 3 times a week, and they reported that within about 8 to 10 weeks, they noticed their legs felt less tired at the end of the day. One man told me he could stand through his grandson's entire baseball game without that deep ache in his thighs that used to force him to sit down by the 3rd inning. That's the anti-inflammatory effect working. Now here's the practical part. You want to aim for about 3 to 4 ounces of fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines at least twice a week, ideally 3 times. And here's a tip most people don't know. Wild-caught salmon has higher omega-3 levels than farmed, but if budget is a concern, canned salmon works beautifully and costs a fraction of fresh. The bones in canned salmon are soft and edible, which gives you bonus calcium for bone strength. But as helpful as salmon is for reducing that inflammatory rust and making your muscles responsive again, the next food does something even more powerful. It provides the actual building blocks your muscles desperately need. At number 2, we have eggs. Now, before you tell me you've been eating eggs your whole life, let me explain what makes eggs uniquely powerful for aging legs and why so many older adults aren't getting enough of what eggs provide. Inside each egg is about 6 grams of complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot make on its own. But here's the critical part. One of those amino acids, leucine, is the master switch for muscle building. Leucine does something remarkable. It activates a protein in your cells called mTOR, which basically tells your muscles, we're building, not breaking down. Studies have shown that older adults require about 2% more protein per meal than younger people just to achieve the same muscle building effect. Your body has become less efficient at using protein as you age. It's like your muscles have developed selective hearing, and they need the message shouted louder to pay attention. Leucine is that louder message. Research from multiple institutions has found that consuming about 3 grams of leucine per meal is the goal for maintaining muscle mass in older adults. 2 large eggs give you about 1 gram of leucine, so you'd need about 4 to 6 eggs to hit that 3-gram target. And before you worry about cholesterol, understand that recent research has cleared eggs for most people. The dietary cholesterol in eggs has minimal impact on blood cholesterol for the vast majority of adults. Here's what this looks like in real life. One woman told me she started having an omelette with 3 eggs for breakfast instead of her usual toast and jam. She said within about 6 weeks, she noticed she could get out of her car more easily. That might sound like a small thing, but that twisting motion of getting your legs out and standing up from a low seat requires significant leg strength. She said it had been getting harder and harder, and suddenly it felt easier again. That's your muscles rebuilding. The other beauty of eggs is they're one of the most versatile, affordable, and accessible high-quality proteins available. Hard, boiled eggs. Scrambled, poached in a frittata, mixed into a salad. You can prepare them 100 different ways. Now, here's something most people don't think about. The timing of when you eat your protein matters almost as much as how much you eat. Your muscles are most responsive to protein in the morning and right after any physical activity. So starting your day with eggs isn't just a breakfast choice, it's a strategic muscle building decision. But however powerful eggs are for providing that leucine signal and high quality building blocks, there's one more food that combines multiple benefits into a single powerhouse option. And this is where things get really serious. This is the big one. The number 1 food for strengthening your legs fast is Greek yogurt. Now stay with me because I'm about to explain why this thick, creamy dairy product might be the single most important thing you can add to your diet starting today. First, Greek yogurt delivers about 15 to 20 grams of complete protein per cup, depending on the brand. That's more than double what you get from regular yogurt. But it's not just the amount of protein. Greek yogurt naturally contains a high concentration of leucine, that master switch amino acid I talked about earlier. 1 cup of Greek yogurt gives you about 2 to 3 grams of leucine, nearly your entire target for 1 meal. But here's what makes Greek yogurt uniquely powerful. It also provides calcium and vitamin D, which work together to support muscle function in ways protein alone cannot. Think of calcium as the messenger that tells your muscle fibers to contract. Without adequate calcium, your muscles literally cannot fire properly. You might have protein to build the muscle, but without calcium, it's like having a car with no ignition system. And vitamin D acts like the key that unlocks calcium absorption. Research specifically on older adults has shown that eating a diet rich in dairy protein, particularly from sources like Greek yogurt, helps preserve leg muscle mass and strength as we age. In one study, adults who consumed higher amounts of dairy protein showed significantly better performance on leg strength tests compared to those with lower dairy protein intake. Here's why this matters so much for people over 50. As you age, your bones and muscles exist in a connected system. When your bones weaken, your muscles have to work harder to support your body weight. When your muscles weaken, they can't protect your bones from fractures. Greek yogurt feeds both sides of this system simultaneously. Let me tell you about something I heard from multiple people. They started having Greek yogurt twice a day, once at breakfast mixed with berries, and once in the afternoon as a snack. Within about 3 months, they noticed they could walk longer distances without that burning fatigue in their thighs. One woman said she realized she'd walked 3 blocks to meet a friend for coffee without even thinking about it, when 6 months earlier she would have driven that distance because her legs couldn't handle it. Now here's the practical strategy for making Greek yogurt work for you. Look for plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt with the highest protein content you can find. The flavored versions often have as much sugar as ice cream, which triggers inflammation and works against your muscle building goals. Buy the plain version and add your own fresh or frozen berries, a drizzle of honey if you need sweetness, maybe some chopped nuts for crunch and healthy fats. And here's a tip that makes a huge difference. If you find plain Greek yogurt too tart, mix it half and half with cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is also extremely high in protein and leucine, and it mellows out that tanginess. You can also use Greek yogurt as a base for smoothies, as a substitute for sour cream, mixed into oatmeal, or even as a marinade for meat. But now comes the part where I need to give you realistic expectations, because I don't want you to think eating these 3 foods once or twice will magically fix everything overnight. Here's the truth. You won't see dramatic results tomorrow. This isn't some miracle cure that reverses years of muscle loss in a week. What you're doing is shifting your body's internal environment from breakdown mode to building mode, and that shift takes time to show visible results. Most people start noticing subtle changes around week 4 to week 6. That feeling of heaviness in your legs starts to lift. Getting up from sitting feels slightly easier. By week 8 to 12, the changes become more obvious. You have more endurance. Your balance feels more stable. And by month 4 to 6, you're seeing legitimate improvements in strength, muscle tone, and functional ability. I know that sounds like a long time in a world where we want instant results, but here's what you need to understand. You didn't lose your leg strength in a week. It happened gradually, almost invisibly, over months and years. Rebuilding it takes consistent daily action over months, not days. But the alternative is continuing to lose strength month after month, year after year, until you reach a point where recovery becomes much harder or even impossible. Now let me address the question I know you're thinking. What about people who can't eat dairy or eggs? Here are your alternatives. For omega-3s, if you don't eat fish, you can get some benefit from plant sources like ground flaxseed, chia seeds, and walnuts. Though they're not as powerful as fish, you can also consider an algae-based omega-3 supplement, which is where fish get their omega-3s in the first place. For protein and leucine, if you can't do eggs or dairy, you'll need to focus on other high-quality protein sources. Chicken breast provides excellent leucine, so do lean beef, turkey, and pork. For plant-based eaters, soy products like tofu and tempeh have good leucine content. Lentils, chickpeas, and other legumes also provide protein and leucine, though in lower concentrations, so you'd need to eat larger portions. But here's something critical that ties all of this together. Food is the foundation, but movement is the activation switch. Think of the protein and nutrients from these 3 foods as the raw materials to build a house. But you still need workers to actually do the building. Movement is those workers. Even simple activities like walking, standing up and sitting down repeatedly, climbing stairs, these signal your muscles to take those nutrients you're eating and actually build new muscle tissue with them. Medical research is absolutely clear on this. Combining adequate protein intake with resistance exercise, even light resistance like bodyweight exercises or resistance bands, produces dramatically better results than either alone. In studies comparing older adults who just ate more protein versus those who ate more protein and exercised, the exercise group gained nearly twice as much muscle mass and 3 times more strength. So here's your action plan, your roadmap to start reversing leg weakness starting today. First, make sure you're eating at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each main meal, with salmon, eggs, or Greek yogurt as your primary sources. Spread your protein throughout the day. Don't try to eat it all at dinner. Your muscles can only process so much at once. Second, include some form of leg movement every single day. This doesn't mean joining a gym or buying equipment. Start with simple chair squats. Stand up from a chair and sit back down 10 times. Do this 3 times a day. After a week, do 15 repetitions. After 2 weeks, do it without using your hands to push yourself up. You're progressively loading your leg muscles, which signals them to get stronger. Walk every day if you can, even if it's just around your house or to the mailbox and back. Every step counts. Every time you use your leg muscles, you're telling them they're needed. Don't waste away. Third, stay hydrated. Your muscles are about 75% water. Dehydration makes muscle weakness worse and prevents proper nutrient delivery to your cells. Aim for about 6 to 8 cups of water or other hydrating beverages daily. And fourth, be patient but consistent. Mark your calendar today and commit to following this plan for 12 weeks, 3 months. That's the minimum time frame to see meaningful results. Don't judge it after 2 weeks and give up. Give your body the time it needs to rebuild what took years to lose. Let me tell you why this matters beyond just having stronger legs. Your leg muscles are the foundation of your independence. They determine whether you can travel, visit friends, play with grandchildren, garden, shop for yourself, live in your own home. When your legs fail, everything else in your life becomes harder or impossible. But when you maintain and rebuild leg strength, you maintain your autonomy. You remain the person who says yes to invitations instead of making excuses. You stay active in your own life instead of watching from the sidelines. You deserve to feel confident at every age. You deserve to trust your body to carry you where you want to go. And don't let anyone tell you that feeling weak and dependent is just something you have to accept as you get older. The research is clear. The mechanism is understood. Your body still has the ability to rebuild muscle even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. But it needs the right fuel, the right signals, and consistent action over time. That fuel is salmon for inflammation control, eggs for leucine and complete protein, and Greek yogurt for the ultimate combination of muscle building nutrients. That's your trifecta. Start with 1 meal today. Make breakfast 3 eggs scrambled with vegetables. Or have a bowl of Greek yogurt topped with berries and a handful of walnuts. Or grill a piece of salmon for dinner with roasted vegetables. Just start 1 meal, then make it 2 meals tomorrow. Build the habit day by day until eating for leg strength becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. Your legs are talking to you right now. That weakness, that heaviness, that shakiness, those are messages. They're warning signals that your foundation is crumbling. But here's the beautiful truth. It's not too late. Not today. Not at your age. Not with where you're starting from. Every single day you feed your muscles the nutrition they're starving for, you're rebuilding that foundation 1 microscopic muscle fiber at a time. 6 months from now, you can be stronger, more stable, more confident in your body than you are today, or you can be weaker, more dependent, more afraid of falling. That choice starts with what you put on your plate today and every day moving forward. Your legs are your foundation. Your independence, your freedom. Protect them, rebuild them. They've carried you this far. Give them what they need to carry you forward into the best years still ahead. If this information opened your eyes to something you didn't fully understand before, hit that like button and share this video with someone in your life who needs to hear this message. Comment below and let me know which of these 3 foods you're adding to your diet starting today. And subscribe to this channel because I'll keep bringing you evidence-based information that helps you thrive at every age, not just survive. Take care of those legs. They're the only ones you've got.